In early 1881, Texas held a nationwide design competition for its new capital. The winner was Elijah E. Myers of Detroit. Myers envisioned a massive Renaissance revival-style structure which is based on the architecture of 15th century Italy. It was big and bold, precisely what Texans wanted. Myers originally planned to top the Capitol with a square tower. State officials persuaded him to change it to a cast-iron dome, similar to the one on the nation's capital. With plans in hand, the state advertised for construction bids in late 1881. The offer was simple: 3 million acres of West Texas land in exchange for a new capital built according to Myers' plans. The state received just 2 bids. An Illinois firm, Taylor, Babcock & Company, acquired the contract in early 1882. Their task was daunting. First, they had to build a structure that would be one of the largest in the country at the time. They also had to find a way to turn a profit on 3 million acres of West Texas plains. Their solution to the second problem was cattle. They developed the massive XIT ranch and began stocking it in 1885. Within 2 years, the ranch had 150,000 head of cattle. To raise money, the company looked overseas, founding the Capital Freehold Land and Investment Company in London. They sold shares to the burgeoning English middle class and used the money to develop the ranch and build the capital. Groundbreaking ceremonies for the capital took place in February of 1882. Abner Taylor of Illinois assumed the demanding role of chief contractor by May of that year. One of his first challenges was getting building materials to the site. The capital was to be made of limestone, so Taylor built a railroad from a quarry 9 miles west at Oatmanville, now called Oak Hill. But shortly after the first load of limestone arrived at Capitol Square, a controversy developed. The stone wasn't suitable for the building's exterior. It streaked when exposed to the weather. Governor John Ireland wanted to use granite instead. Taylor balked, saying it was too expensive. The debate over what kind of stone to use delayed construction for almost 2 years. Finally, 3 men who owned Granite Mountain near present-day Marble Falls offered to give the state all the red granite needed, free of charge. By the end of 1885, Taylor turned the project over to Gus Wilkie of Chicago, who soon became mired in his own controversy. The Granite Cutters Union objected to his use of convicts in the quarries instead of Union men. As a result, they voted to boycott the job. Wilkie needed experienced granite cutters, so he turned to Scotland, importing about 100 men to do the job. Another problem arose later that year. The architect, E. Myers, failed to revise his drawings after changes were made to the Capitol's design. His relationship with the state continued to deteriorate, and though he was never actually fired, his duties as architect were essentially over by 1886. Despite all the problems, work continued on the Capitol. By mid-1887, the walls were up and the dome began to take shape. In February of '88, workers hoisted the 15.5-foot zinc statue of the Goddess of Liberty to her lofty perch. It's been said her features were exaggerated so they could be seen from far away. The Capitol was finally dedicated in May of 1888. The city of Austin threw a week-long celebration, complete with marching bands, military drills, and fireworks. A special state Capitol waltz was even written for the occasion. More than 20,000 people crowded the Capitol grounds for the May 16th dedication ceremony. Senator Temple Houston, youngest son of Old Sam, accepted the building in a rousing speech.
Today is an era in history. The survivors of the early struggles who view this building realize that all which they did was not in vain. This building fires the heart and excites reflections in the minds of all.
Just as Houston finished his speech, a drenching rainstorm passed over Austin. Much to everyone's dismay, their magnificent new capital had a leaky roof. It took several months to clear up this and other problems, but in December of 1888, almost 7 years after breaking ground, the state formally accepted the Capitol. When the Texas Capitol was finished, it covered more than 2 acres and had 392 rooms, 924 windows, and 404 doors. Final cost, about $3.7 million. It took more than 1,000 people to build the Capitol: engineers, artisans, laborers, craftsmen. In 7 years, they created one of the most beautiful public buildings in the world, by hand. They came from many different backgrounds. Texas in the 1880s was a rich mixture of cultures, all of whom made unique contributions to the state capitol.